Did you know that a UCLA study found that by the time a child is 1 year of age, they would have heard the word no on average 400 times a day? Now, while the word no is not in and of itself a problem, it's the meaning the child begins to attach to the word. Like, they don't like me, I'm not good enough, I can't do anything right, I'm stupid. That can play out throughout a child's entire life. And this negative association with the word no is why dreams can often feel so hard to achieve. Let's be honest, how many people would you talk to if you knew that every single person would say yes to your offer or to you helping solve one of their problems? Conversely, how many people will you talk to if you continue to take a no personally and feeling bad about yourself each time you hear one? So if subconsciously you have put a negative meaning onto the word no, you may have discovered one of the most important mental obstacles blocking your path to success. There's a great quote that says, if you're on a path without any obstacles, it probably doesn't lead anywhere. And after 35 years of working with people, I understand that the word no can often feel like an insurmountable obstacle, which of course it's not. Every successful person I have ever worked with has had to learn how to re-examine, reevaluate, and ultimately reframe their relationship with the inevitable no's that come along with their success. And that's what excites me about today, because in the words of Randy Pausch, the obstacles are not there to keep you out. The obstacles are there to see how badly you want it. Hey, it's your friend David back again, and I'm really excited to be helping you reframe this insidious little word no. With some awareness and some practice, the word no will no longer be able to slow you down or even stop you. In fact, the opposite will be true. You'll begin to understand that the more no's you can endure, the more people you can help, which means the greater success you can have. Also, in today's training, I want to show you how your brain can accidentally keep you stuck and stop you from making positive changes in your life. And that's right, I said accidentally. So let's get started. So let's talk about you. How's your relationship with the word no? What meaning do you consciously or non-consciously give it when you hear the word no? Like most people, you may not be fully aware that you can re-examine, reevaluate, and especially reframe your relationship with the word no so that you can accelerate your speed to success. A great way to tell whether your relationship is healthy or not is how many conversations you're having. If your relationship with the word no is really healthy, you're having a lot of conversations. If, however, it's not so healthy, then even the thought of having conversations can be really challenging. So whether your relationship is healthy or not, I really want you to pay attention today, because so many of your new people may not have a healthy relationship and may be taking the no's personally. So really pay attention and make sure you share this with them. So why does this tiny word have so much power over you and manage to steal so many dreams and goals? Well, the truth is this: the word has no power over you whatsoever. It's simply the meaning or the meanings that you attach to it. Like the saying goes, nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. Consider the word I used in the last video, for example, salesman. Now, for some people, it can mean helpful or problem solver. For others, it can be pushy or sleazy. The word itself, though, is neutral until you or I apply a positive or negative meaning to it. The challenge, of course, if the meaning you've given to the word no or the word salesman is negative, there's a very good chance that you're going to be incredibly uncomfortable either selling or being sold. So in the same way we've begun assigning a new meaning from selling products to solving problems, it's important for us to switch the meaning or any negative energy we have around the word no, which is much easier than it sounds. By simply bringing awareness to your thoughts and feelings, you've already taken the first step to changing it. Awareness is the first key to positive change. I have surveyed tens of thousands of students all over the world, and they've shared with me the different meanings that they've given to no's that they believe are slowing them down in their business or stopping them altogether. What's fascinating is with certain people, they'll assign a certain no. With other people, it's different. For example, when a friend or family member says no to them, quite often the meaning is they don't love me or they don't support me. Where the same no from a stranger is the meaning they give it is I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or I messed up. Our goal is to begin to assign a constructive meaning versus a destructive meaning. So I want to take a second and read from the list of some of the most common meanings that I've heard from no's all over the world. What's interesting is how many are similar regardless of the continent, regardless of the country. Your job is to see if any of these resonate with you and maybe getting in the way of your success. They don't like me. I'm stupid. I messed up. I can't do this. They don't trust me. I'm not good enough. I'm doing it wrong. I'm a failure. I'm bothering people. I'll never succeed. I'm not cut out for this. I should quit. I'm no good at sales. They think I'm pushy. So just take a moment. Think about some of your meanings, consciously or non-consciously, that you've assigned to your no's and see if maybe that is standing in the way of you and your dreams and goals. Let's talk about reframing, because the reframe that I personally use and love is instead of no, my reframe is not now, which stands in complete alignment with moving from selling to solving. What happened was this: once I realized that someone was not saying no to me, they were saying not now, because what my product or my service was not able to solve their problem. So I no longer took it personally. What was interesting though, life gets in the way and things change. I simply stayed in relationship with that person, and because of a job loss, a divorce, maybe a health scare, suddenly my solution really became important, and that no turned into a yes. In fact, you'll be surprised by how many professional network marketers you're going to meet that will tell you that they said no so many times before they said yes, and for so many different reasons. But once your solution matches someone's problem, then it's a very, very easy yes. However, if your solution does not solve their problem, then that no simply becomes a not now, and you never have to take it personally ever again. Of course, there are many other no reframes that other leaders use. However, for this training, I encourage you to practice the not now reframe and also practice staying neutral. Staying neutral doesn't mean that you won't feel some frustration or disappointment at hearing the word no. Staying neutral means that when you hear the word no, you accept it as an important part of your business and prepare yourself to have yet another conversation. Over time and with practice, you will begin to develop a new and healthy relationship with this little word that, if left unchecked, has the ability to steal more dreams and goals than any other word. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned how your brain responds to change and accidentally keeps you stuck in exactly the same place. I use the word accidentally because I want you to understand what happens in your brain and your body when you're wanting to make positive change, including financial changes. And I want you to understand why I use the word accidentally. You see, your brain is wired for comfort, safety, routine, and familiarity. And so you have non-consciously created a zone of comfort where your brain feels safe. And every single time you step outside of your comfort zone, your brain will release hormones, including adrenaline and cortisol, warning you of danger. This is known as the fight-flight response. Maybe your heart is racing, your muscles are tense, you may be sweating or shaking, maybe you're blushing or pale, or your mouth is like a sandbox. You've had this feeling many different times, albeit in varying degrees, every single time you do something new, or maybe you're just contemplating doing something new for the first time. It's easy to imagine the fight-flight response when it comes to bungee jumping or skydiving or whitewater rafting. However, consider a small child about to jump into a swimming pool for the very first time, or the white knuckles of your teenager driving in traffic for the very first time, or maybe the first time you're asked to speak in public or to raise your hand in class. When we apply these same feelings to your business, we'll see varying degrees of the same fight-flight response. For example, saying hello to a stranger to start a conversation, or maybe to pick up the phone to ask a friend if they're interested in looking at your business, or a follow-up call with a prospect. Or what if you're asked to go on a Zoom call to share your story or to speak on stage at national convention? Again, varying degrees of the same exact feeling, fight or flight. What's fascinating is the more comfortable or more routine your life has been to this point, the more extreme these feelings may be for you, and why trying new things, starting a new business can feel so challenging for you, and why it's important to truly understand this fight-flight response and exactly what you can do to overcome it. Let's explore the fight-flight response and how you can better navigate it. But first, let's understand that for your hunter-gathering ancestors, this was critical for survival, for fear of being eaten by a wild animal or attacked by another tribe. So blood flowed to the muscles in the legs and the arms, preparing to fight or flee, or rush to the brain for greater awareness, causing blushing or paleness, or muscles tightened, which caused trembling. All of these things made sense in a life and death situation. Now think about how many times you felt rapid heartbeat or trembling or sweating or nervousness as you've attempted to do something new for the very first time. Your brain triggers the same fight-flight response with perceived dangers, like the potential rejection from a phone call or the potential screw-up from speaking in public. In fact, whenever you leave the safety of your comfort zone. Let me say this again. Your brain will release the same chemicals for real danger as it does for perceived danger, which is why when you step outside your comfort zone and do something new for the first time, it can be so incredibly challenging. This is why in previous videos, I've said when it comes to building your business, be extra kind and extra patient with yourself, because your brain, in its quest to bring you back to your comfort zone, will often trigger self-doubt, self-criticism, and negative self-talk. Best-selling author and personal growth expert Tony Robbins has identified the 6 basic human needs: certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection and love, personal growth, and contribution. This is why I love this collaborative business partnership or network marketing, because it satisfies all 6 of these basic human needs. The challenge is, while your soul and spirit crave uncertainty and variety, your brain is hardwired for comfort and certainty. So while comfort is a basic human need and really important, so is uncertainty, personal growth, and contribution, which is why it's essential for you to challenge your comfort zone and continue taking action when you feel uncertain. Because as you practice something and become more comfortable with it, your brain will stop seeing it as a danger. The secret is to continue taking action, and you will feel some fear, apprehension, doubt, and uncertainty, and varying degrees of the fight-flight response will come up. However, you've dealt with this many times in your past. Let's explore one of them. Think about the very first time you drove a car, or maybe you asked somebody out on a date. You had those same feelings of fear, apprehension, doubt, and uncertainty. Why? Because you're doing something for the very first time. Now, while driving poses a physical risk, in fact, it's the leading cause of death in North America, asking someone on a date poses no physical risk, only the possible fear of rejection. When you apply this principle to building your business, the 20% that you're responsible for poses no physical risk, only the potential risk of rejection, of hearing the word no, which we've now reframed to not now. So let's go back to driving. If you've been driving for a long time, you can probably drive now with your knee, listening to music, eating a sandwich, or you've had that experience where you've been driving for 30 minutes and you can't remember any of it because your mind was off thinking about other things. So how did you get from where you were when you began driving, maybe overwhelmed, white-knuckled, and afraid, to feeling relaxed, competent, and really comfortable? First, you really wanted to drive. You wanted that freedom. Second, you asked for help, maybe a sibling or a parent, to be able to drive in the car with them. Third, you took some lessons and you began practicing. You began improving your skills. Fourth, you invested in a car, you invested in a vehicle, and you began driving every single day until one of the most dangerous things that you can do became second nature and natural for you. I wonder if you can remember when your brain no longer flooded your body with chemicals every single time you drove because you had a new comfort zone. However, maybe you're caught in extreme weather or you're driving abroad on a different side of the road and suddenly you're completely outside your comfort zone and those old feelings return, those warnings, the white knuckles, the sweating, the beating heart. Because even though you're completely comfortable driving, you're now completely outside your comfort zone and your brain begins to freak out. Let's see how that applies to your business. When we apply this to your collaborative business partnership, first, say yes. Say yes to wanting to create time flexibility and greater wealth. Second, ask for help. Reach out to the team around you. Link arms with them and collaborate with them. You can learn from watching, you can learn from modeling, and you can learn from listening. Third, practice, practice, practice. Begin mastering the connecting, the inviting, the presenting, the closing, and the starting skills until you become both competent and confident. And fourth, invest in yourself. You are the most important investment you'll ever make, and your wealth can only grow to the extent that you can grow yourself. Lastly, be kind and patient with yourself because you will no longer be flooded with chemicals every time you pick up a phone, do a follow-up call, or have a conversation because your comfort zone will have expanded and you will be one step closer to the life you truly deserve. Did you know that a UCLA study found that by the time a child is 1 year of age, they would have heard the word no at least 400 times a day? And now that you've begun to reframe your no's and you understand exactly what your brain's doing every time you attempt to grow, you can begin collecting no's without giving them a negative meaning or taking them personally. Also, you can now embrace when your brain is trying to warn you. Those hormones surging through your body are a sign of growth. They're a sign that you're outside of your comfort zone, which is exactly where you'll need to be to design the life that you truly deserve. Thank you again for spending time with me. I am so proud of you, and I'll see you soon.